Got it. Got it. All right, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to share my screen with you. And I know, Crystal, you're driving. Girlfriend, please do not get in a wreck. This will be recorded. You'll be able to see this another time.
No worries.
I don't want anyone to get into an accident. Okay, I'm going to hit present. And can everyone see my screen okay?
Give it a thumbs up. Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for joining our 2023, which is crazy to think that we are here, but thank you for joining our 2023 Vision Board Workshop. We are super excited. Me and Sharina have been kind of talking about this for about a month now, and we wanted to bring this to you because to us, vision and goal setting, it can seem kind of a lot, but it really helps you break down things that can help you. And we're going to break it down so that it's simpler. It's not the big, I got to make my New Year's resolutions type of things, because we know how often that goes. They don't last very long. This is about creating habits and finding ways to find joy and intention in our life every day. And so we want to help you break this down to help guide you along the process. So this is our workshop. So you can see we're going to talk about vision. We're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk about dreams. I want you to, if you are able to, Crystal, I know you're driving, but when you have time, if you're watching the recording, I want to make sure you have paper, you have pen, you've got a quiet spot, you got some water maybe, because we're going to dig in a little bit today. And I want you to really think about your heart and where you're at, and be open to thinking about things on a whole new level, and be open to being honest to yourself, because we're going to talk a little bit about some things that are going on, and we're going to talk about it as a whole. And as we talk about it, we want you to think about it in your world, in your circle, in your four walls, in your mindset, in your heart. Those are the kinds of things we're going to talk about. So think about it and be open to thinking about it, because the world is yours. We just have to think about things in a different mindset. And Sheree and I talk a lot about, like, as we're aging, right? Things change, right? Things go in a different direction. And it doesn't mean that we can't dream, that we can't have bigger goals. Sheree and I are on a team of a lot of women who are very much younger than us. And they've got young kids, and I think that's awesome. But like, I think, to me and Shireen's credit, like, you can still go after the things that you want to go after. So never hesitate or think that you can't do that anymore. I lost my mouse. Where did it go? Okay, here we go. Okay.
Just want to say amen.
Okay, and so I love this little saying, and I wanted to add it in here, and I want you to think about this. Trust the timing of your life. Okay, trust the timing of your life. And I want you to think about, life is happening for you. Life is not happening to you. It's one of my biggest things, and I think about it often, because I think, how often do we think, like, man, like, what is happening to me today? Like, what's going on? Like, you wake up and maybe you overslept, and you spilled your morning coffee or your morning tea, or you didn't get out the door on time or whatever. Life is happening for you. Maybe that happened because you weren't meant to be on the road quite yet, or you needed to do one more thing before you left the house. You're going to never be more worthy of your life than of what you want than today. Today's the youngest you're going to be. You're exactly where you need to be. Everything is happening for you. Nothing's happening to you. We learn and grow from everything that happens in our life. And I want to just tell you right now that you are enough. You are enough no matter what is happening in your world. And to just know that we can grow from where we're at today.
Gosh, I never understand what that saying was until you just explained it.
Oh, good, good, good. Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, life is never happening to you. It's happening for you. Everything around you is for a reason. You just have to learn and be open to hearing and understanding what it's about.
Yes.
All right. So is this me now?
That's you,
This
Sheree.
is me. All right. So this slide, if you have a piece of paper in front of you, I want you to take it and draw a line down the middle of it. And then on the one side, you're going to write a quick list of things that you hate in your life. Or it's okay. This is the time where you can just say, I really don't like this in my life. Okay, maybe hate is too strong a word for you, but maybe it's things that I just really don't like in my life and I would like them to change. Things that I love and that I want more of in my life on the other side. And I got this idea from a podcast by Mel Robbins. I mean, I love her new podcast. She has so many great ideas and just so many great mindset hacks and ways to shift how you think and approach life. Little things like life is happening for me, not to me. And she did this exercise. I think she said it was at the end of the year last year, a friend told her to do this. And she said it changed her life because it just helped her clarify everything in her life that was not working for her and helped her identify the things that she wanted more of. So before we go any farther right now, we're just going to take 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, I don't know, just make a quick list of all of the things that you hate and want to change and the things that you love and want more of. And then we will come back to this and talk some more.
I accidentally put in the Canva link to this presentation, which is fine. You can totally use it. But I was trying to get you the podcast to listen to. So I'm going to get that in here in just a second for you.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, this is the podcast here, 3 lessons from one of the hardest years of my life. So, yeah, and if you get a chance to listen to this podcast, it's really, really a good podcast and just helped me personally put things in perspective as well. So, yeah. All right, Lauren, we back? Okay. All right. So just kind of finish up that list. You can keep adding to it as I talk for a little bit here too. So, so I am a big fan, and Lauren and I both are big fans of not necessarily resolutions. I've actually heard it rephrased a couple of different ways that I really like. One person I saw, she said, I don't like to talk about resolutions. I like to talk about revolutions. I'm pretty sure that was Julie Boris. And then another person I saw talking about, I don't want to talk about resolutions. I want to talk about solutions. That was Courtney Reed on our team. So, and I liked both of those ideas, just because, as Lauren said, so many people set resolutions. And then after even after a week, sometimes you've already forgotten what it was that you said you were going to do. And so, and what truly obviously was not that important to you, if that's the case. So the idea of setting an intention for a year, like thinking ahead to a year from now on January 2nd, 2024, and how do you want to feel about the year that just happened? How do you want to feel about 2023? What is the feeling that you want to be sitting with a year from now? And when you set an intention at the beginning of a year, it just creates it. Not only do you put your brain, the greatest search engine available, to work on your behalf, looking for the things that you say you want to have happen, but it trains you, to become more aware of all of those things. So let me give you an example. So last year in 2022, I chose the phrase "rise up" as my phrase of the year, as my theme for the year. That was the intention I wanted. And what it meant to me a year ago was that I felt like I had a lot of sort of latent potential that I wasn't tapping into, that I wanted to have more action in my life, more intentional action. And I wanted to rise up to the person that I knew that I really could be. And what ended up happening, as many of you know, is that I feel like my brain took that literally. And not only did I, make some, of course, internal changes this last year, but my husband and I rose up and moved our whole household from Colorado to Indiana. And, it was a literal manifestation of rising up and moving across the country and creating a new life for us here in Indiana. And I just think that is like, that is not what I intended a year ago, but that is literally what happened to us, and how those things work sometimes, because blessings come our way and we don't realize they're blessings until later. And so as you think about what your intention for your year will be, I want you to keep that in mind. And I want you to think about, we're going to go cover some words here, and I want you to listen to the words and think, and just jot down any words that sort of resonate with you. Let me pull this up. So, a lot of, this is listed here, and we can put that link in the chat as well. But I'm just going to read through some of these. And as I read through these, you just make a note of any that sort of catch your ear, and you're like, yeah, that's what I want. Or, yeah, I would love to have more of that, or whatever. And, try and just make note of those things. Okay.
Can I happen really quick, Shireen?
Yeah.
Like, if it hits you, write it down. Like, you don't have to be like waiting for the perfect verb. If it hits you, if it hits your heart, if it tugs at your heartstrings, just write it down. You can come back and redefine and narrow in. But like, if it hits you, there's a reason why. You just write it down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to read through these now. So abundance, acceptance, accomplish, achievement, action, activate, admiration, adventure, align or alignment, appreciate, appreciation, awaken, awareness, balance, becoming, believing, brave, This is getting a little hard to read here. It's not super clear. Capable, celebrate, centered, challenge, change, cherish, charming, clarity, coachable, committed, compassionate, confidence, considerate, courage, creative, cultivate, daring, dazzling, determined, devotion, discipline, discovery, divinity, dream, thrive, elevate, embrace, emerge, empower, energy, encourage, enjoy, enlighten, alive, enough, excellence, expand, explore, fabulous, faith, faithfulness, fearless, fierce, finish, flourish, flying, focus, forgiveness, freedom, fulfillment, gain, gainful, gentle, glow, glowing, glorious, goodness, grace, gratitude, growth, happy, happiness, heart, heroic, hope, humble, ignited, illuminate, imagine, inspire, integrity, intuition, irresistible, joyful, kindness, laugh, learning, light, limitless, living, lovely, loving, positive, precious, priority, progress, purpose, quality, radiant, radiate, reach, reflect, renew, restore, majesty, masterful, mindful, minimal, meditative, meaningful, momentum, motivate, motivated, movement, multiply, nourish, nurture, open, organize, outstanding, passion, patience, peace, persistence, playful, safety, serenity, shine, simplify, soar, spectacular, spirited, splendid, strength, sublime, support, sustainable, surrender, teach, teachable, thankful, thankfulness, thoughtful, thrive, thriving, transform, transformative, trust, unlimited, vital, wealthy, whole, wise, wonder, worthy, worthiness. All right, those are just some. You can go look through 100 more words. But I hope some of those maybe sparked some thoughts in your head, some feelings in your heart that you could turn to sort of say, if I were to choose one word for my year, one theme for my year, what would that be? Like I mean, like I did last year, it doesn't have to be one word, but you know, what do you want your theme for the year to be? Okay, what's next? All right, I'm doing this one, right, Lauren? Yeah, okay. All right, we're going to give you 5 more minutes to write down some ideas. So from those words, maybe you can circle, you know, 3 or 4 that really just stuck out to you. Oh, I am so sorry. Sorry to hear about your uncle, but yeah, we totally understand. All right. So we're going to give you 5 minutes, and it's helpful for me to think about goals in terms of like different areas of my life. So I break it down into these are just some suggestions of areas. So like my health, I think about, so last year when I went through this process, and clearly I have not done it yet, or I'd be talking about this year. That's why I'm here, right? We're going to do this together. Last year when I was, I'd chosen that theme of rise up, I asked myself, how am I going to rise up in in the different areas of my life? So how am I going to rise up in my health? How am I going to rise up in my business? How am I going to rise up, with financial goals I might have? How am I going to rise up with developing my spirit, my mental health, relationships in my family? You don't have to do all of these, maybe pick a couple and just, make a bullet list underneath them of some ideas you might have. Okay, so I'll set a timer and we'll do this for 5 minutes. So I hope you got a good start on some ideas. And I do want to say, just because I'm saying choose a theme for the year doesn't mean I'm saying don't make goals. What I'm saying is if you have a theme, then it helps you sort of focus your goals in the area that's meaningful to you. So, because, for so long, I would just set goals just to set goals so I could check them off, just sort of check them off a list. And that was always satisfying or discouraging when I didn't do it. But it was, I don't know, it didn't have as much meaning to me as when I started doing it this way and connecting it to sort of an overall vision for my life in the future. In fact, it was interesting when I first started coaching. So I've been a coach for 7 years. And I remember, like Lauren mentioned, especially Lauren's younger than I am, but, she's got older kids, she's got older teenagers and is looking empty nesthood in the face, basically. And I just remember thinking all of those younger coaches that talk about where do you want to be and where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And I was like, well, in 10 years, I'm going to be 62. What does that look like? And I just had never allowed myself even to dream, to think about what that would look like for me. And now I know people like Marcia, who's on this call, who is 62. And I look at her and I think, those are the kinds of things that I want for my life too. I want meaningful relationships in my life with my family. I want, and I meet all of these people and they give me hope and they inspire me and help me to think about my future in a much more positive way instead of just like, I have no idea what I want my future to look like. All right, Lauren, what's next?
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get to the good part. Okay. We were going to talk a little bit about, we wanted to hear a little bit from you. So while I go on to the next slide, share with us something that you wrote down that you wanted to change, something that you were like, I don't like this. I want to change this. I hate this. I really, Shereen and I talked about this in that podcast. Mel Robbins talks about like things you hate in your life, like literally like things that you like she wants you to have that feeling of things that you really want to change, because if it's like, well, I could change this, there's not enough conviction, not enough push, not enough encouragement to make a change in those things. So share with us some of those things that you want to change, and maybe I would love to hear too, share with us some things that you would love to keep in your life and things that you want to grow, because I feel like so often things can be really good, but how can you grow it to be bigger? How can you grow it to be bolder? How can you grow it to be more of an impact or an influence in your life and to others as well? So share with us in the chat, because we would love to kind of hear and see kind of the things that you're thinking about. And so as we kind of add that in, add that into the chat as we kind of go into this next section, because this is where we're going to do a little bit more of brainstorming. So I want you to really take that list and kind of think about those words that kind of sat on your heart that you're like, okay, this is the good stuff. We're going to really try to hone in a little bit more on some of those so that we can now make it into pieces of your vision board. It all really kind of comes together full circle. So on another piece of paper, or on the back of your piece of paper, I want you to take or make 12 squares on it. Just, line, across. You want 12 different squares on a blank piece of paper. And I want you to fill in the boxes with words or phrases that define the different parts of the things that you either wanted to change or the things that you love. Okay. So for an example, last year, some things that I wanted to change, and I'm looking at my boards from last year because I'm in the process of making my new ones yet. Same with Shireen. I knew that I wanted to have an exceptional marriage. Okay. That was something that I knew I wanted. I wanted to up my relationship with my husband. I wanted to be in St. Louis with my team. So I knew I wanted to travel with my Beachbody team, and I wanted to be in St. Louis with them. I wanted to build relationships with my children. I wanted to feel confident. So these are all different words that you could like start to put in there. Like I wanted to build my confidence. So confidence, relationships. And to me, like it could be with your spouse, it could be with your best friend, it could be with your mom, it could be with your children. Do you want to travel? Like, do you want to see more? Is there something that you want to work towards saving? You want to go on vacation with your family. Find and kind of pull some of those things that you want to change or grow more of and write those in your boxes. And it can be very, it doesn't have to be defined yet. Be okay to be ready to change things up. Excuse me, on your wording, it doesn't necessarily have to be, excuse me, what you want it to be. So take a few minutes to write those down. I'm gonna get some water. Okay, so I'm looking here. Julie was like, things she wants to change: her weight. She wants to love and grow more with her family, fitness, faith, time with her husband, intentions for the year, routine. I love that. I'm all about routines. I'm a big routine and habit person. Categories of focus: faith, family, fitness, fun, with family, finance, career, knowledge. I love this, Julie. This is so good. So good. So many things that you can grow with this. I love it. Keep adding, friends. I'd love to hear what you're going here. One of the things that I love about our crew is we partner together to make a community that works towards our goals together. So even though some of our intentions, some of our goals, some of our things might be on similar paths, some may be completely different. And I think that that's awesome because we can cheer each other on in that. And then somebody might say something and you're like, oh yeah, I really want to up that in my life, right? Or I'm good there, but maybe I can continue to grow it. So for an example, one of the things I put in there was I really wanted an incredible and exceptional marriage. It's very easy to become, if you're in a relationship, to become roommates. I mean, it's like I literally have a 14-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter, and we both divide and conquer. And I'm doing all the stuff with Maddie, he's doing all the stuff with Tyler. And sometimes we come together at the end of the night and it's enough to just be like, whew, what a day. Here's dinner, eat, we're doing our own thing. And the next thing you know, we're each going to bed at certain times. I'm kissing him on the head and I'm going to bed. It's going to happen, right? Those days are going to happen. But what am I doing in between that to make sure that I'm continuing to grow a loving marriage? Because one day the kids aren't going to be here. Right. And so I got to somehow create my life with him again the way it was in the past. Shireen says the thing she wants to change. I want to be more efficient with my time, but I want to give myself more grace when I don't stick to a schedule. Totally hard one, but totally doable. I understand that one 100%. Things I love are to continue building family relationships and having meaningful experiences with her grandkids. One of the things Shireen talked about is she rised up and moved to Indiana. And so she sees her family on a more consistent basis. And so being able to do the things with her family, that's huge. That's so exciting. I'm so excited for her. I love seeing her post when she posts stuff with her grandkids. Okay, so as you're kind of going through and you're going to fill in those 12 squares, I'm going to share with you 2 different ways that you can do a vision board. Okay. This is where your homework's going to come in because we can't do it all together, but I'm going to share with you 2 different ways. And these are 2 ways I've done it. And I've actually have the one I'm going to share with you is on what I call my 413 board. I'm a big Jesus fan. I'm a big Jesus fan. I'm just going to kind of share it out there with you. And so Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ. And so I have a 413 board, meaning it's Philippians 4:13, and I have Bible verses on there. I have quotes on there. I have different things that help me to focus on the things that I want to do. And one of them is one of these boards I'm going to share with you. And then another one I have in pictures, which is kind of the first one I'm going to share with you. I have it in pictures next to me, and I'm going to share that picture with you too. So as you're kind of creating these 12 squares and you're filling them in, when you are off this call and you take some time this week to kind of let it sit on your heart and help you decide which route you want to go, look for pictures in your camera roll that describe that relationship. So for an example, on my incredible and loving marriage, I have a picture of me and my husband in St. Louis, and we're doing something he totally wanted to do, but I was so excited to do it with him because it was what he wanted to do. And I was working towards that part. And so I have on my pictures on what I'm going to show you, an incredible loving marriage, because that was something. So it's a picture of me and him. I'm working. One of the things I want to work for every month is to give my kids the training they need for the things they want to do. So my daughter eventually wants to own her own dance studio and is a competitive dancer, and she wants to really build her life around dance and competition dance. And she's even talked about possibly starting her own competition business where they go around and teams come in to compete, or opening her own studio. I need her to have the best level of training possible so that she can eventually train other kids. My son wants to play football and baseball in college and in high school and play baseball in college. And he has dreams of going to the MLB. Okay. I am not one to ever tell my kids they can't do it, but to do that, they need high levels of training, which costs money. So to give them that, I have that's on my vision board. Okay. So these are the kinds of things. I have a picture of both of them on my vision board. So you want to find 2 to 3 pictures for your squares. Okay. And you're going to download the app Shutterfly. And I'm going to explain why in just a second. So you might want to screenshot this picture. What you're going to do is you're going to upload those photos when you pick them. You're going to upload them into Shutterfly, and you'll click order and photo print. Okay, so you'll click order, then you're going to click photo prints, and you want to choose the 4x4s because they're free. Okay, I'm all about a deal, and I'm all about free. Okay, so you want to choose the 4x4s because they're free. Now, one thing I didn't add in here, and I should have, and I'm sorry, I'm going to add it in here below. You want to download the app WordSwag. It's free. It's free, right, Shireen? I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
it's free.
it's free.
And what I love about WordSwag is that you can add words onto your pictures, and then you can download it into Shutterfly. So so when you print your photo, you'll get it with the word on it. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in a second too. So you'll want to download the app WordSwag, put your word, whatever your focus is, you're going to put it on your picture, and then you're going to upload it into Shutterfly, and you'll be able to print them from there. Okay. Now, when you do Shutterfly, the only thing that you have to pay for is shipping. And I think it's like $1 something. So it's super, super cheap. Okay. I love it. So this right here, you can see, I'm going to, Michelle, I'm coming back to your goals because I think these are awesome. I want to share those in a second, but I want to share these two. These are my boards that I created. So as you experience this and you kind of work through your statements, your vision, your goals, your dreams, I want you to really like experience it in your head. And I want you to close your eyes and think about the different things that why does it mean something to you? If it's something tangible, do you feel it in your hands? Do you see it in your head? If it's a trip, do you smell where you're at? Like one of mine is to take my family to St. John. It was one of the most favorite places me and my husband went to, and my kids hear us tell stories about it all the time. And finally, Maddie was like, "Oh, for Pete's sake, can we just go?" Now, I'm like, "Yes," but that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to take 2 kids to St. John because you have to travel to St. Thomas, get a boat, go to St. John. We won that trip in his previous company, and he's no longer there. So that's not my goal. But when I think about it, I can hear the water. I can smell the ocean. I can see things in my head that we did when we went there, and I can remember these boat trips that we went to. And that's when I close my eyes, I think about the boat trips, and I think about my husband sitting there listening to his Kenny Chesney. He's got a beer in his hand. He's got the wind blowing in his hair, and my kids are right there next to him. I can see it in my head, and it's going to happen. So, if it's a trip you want to go, what are you wearing? What are you doing? If it's, a new house, what does that look like? What does your kitchen look like? What color are your cabinets? These are the things you want to think about. If it's your health, what does that look like to you? What are you doing? Where are you at? What kind of workouts are you doing? Are you showing up? Those are the kinds of things you want to think. Live inside your heart as you think about it. So you can see here, this right here, this top one, this is my, I made this on canva.com. You can get it in a free account. You don't have to pay for it. And I put it in the chat. And I created it. And I'm not very creative. That's not one of my strong suits, and that's okay. I use their fonts, right, based on what I see. But you can see here, this is how I started 2022. My words were empower and impact. I wanted to empower myself to be the best self possible, and I wanted to impact other women and be the light to them. So what I ended up doing was creating different things that I wanted in my life. I put them in sentences, and you can see this is what I did. So you can get some examples here from me. Words that meant something to me: joy, fearless, and confident. Confidence is something I wanted to grow and to stop being fearful of things that were happening. So like I wanted to increase the relationship with my kids. Those are right there. I wanted to do more and provide dance for Maddie right here. I wanted to be more involved in my church. That's right here. I wanted to grow a team of women that show up for themselves and want to also impact others. That's right here. This will happen some point. And some time I will have a group of us that will go to Florida and we will just grow and visualize and just experience so much together. And we're going to lock arms together. This right here is my daughter in training. This was her photo from dance the year before. I want to help her with that. And Ty playing football. I want us to feel alive every single day. And I read this book called Bo Eason, from Bo Eason. It was called There's No, oh shoot, Shireen, what's it called? I can't remember. There's no, I'll remember. I'll get it to you. But he says he was a football player, and he says this players only beyond this point. So meaning to me, like I'm a big athlete. My kids are athletes. So like we are only going to be players. We're not going to be participants. We are going to be players on the field. No matter what you're doing, we are going all in. So that was kind of and that's on my 413 board. This right here, the pictures that I kind of shared with you, the word swag, this is what I ended up doing. I just put them on my wall. So you can see these are pictures. So you can't really see this one. This one's a picture on the top. It's of IU, Indiana University. And on the bottom, it's Purdue University. So I live in Indiana. And I told my kids, because I don't want them to pay for college and have college debt, I said, you got to go to an in-state school. And they were both very happy to take on. They're like, Mom, please take on my college debt. I'm happy to do it. So I'm going to be paying for that. So I want to make sure that my kids' college is covered. That's my goal. This is a picture of me and Jeff looking out in Vegas during the pandemic. We got a trip out there we rented a house and we were looking out there, and it was just a picture I loved, but I want to be steps closer to financial freedom. That's on my vision board. One day I will own this Louis Vuitton bag. One day. These are a pair of shoes that I absolutely want. They're ridiculously expensive, but I absolutely love them. I will own them one day. My health, my energy for my family, it's going to be top notch because I take care of my body. That's why this is here. I will host my own retreat. That's there. And I can't see these other ones at the bottom because of my pictures here, but this is my goal is to have a team of leaders in my Beachbody business. This is my St. John picture. It says take my family to St. John at the bottom. And this is a picture of my kids. And that one's the training for each of my kids is covered every month by my income. So these are just examples of what they look like. Okay. And now Shireen's going to share with you an example of hers, and then I'm going to go through them. And maybe Shireen, we can talk about some of these people that added some goals in the chat.
Okay. Yep. So this was my vision board from last year, and I also created this on Canva, and it is actually the background of my phone as well. So it has been there every day to remind me of the things. And I probably should have printed it out too. This year I am going to print it out so that I can like put it up on a wall somewhere too. Because sometimes when you have a phone background, you start not looking at it anymore, right? So it's good to have different reminders. And I did the same. I put some words up here. I picked the pictures that represented the things that were meaningful to me. These were words that struck me as I thought about rising up. What do I want to rise up to? I want to be able to ignite other people and empower them to help them change their lives. I want to give myself permission to shine because I am just that kind of a person that thinks that I should stay in the background all the time, and realize that I actually have things to offer people, and it's okay to do, to let those talents come through. and a picture of my family from our family reunion the year before. And, a goal of mine is to take all of my kids to Disney. Now, of course, we're adding a new baby this year, so we got to figure out the timing of that. So that probably won't happen for another year, but it's still something that I'm still saving for. I keep, every month I put some money aside because I want to save for that trip to Disney with our family. This picture over here was a picture of me with our fitness friends. We did a retreat in Colorado. Well, we did one this year in 2022, but the first one we did was in 2021. It was a blast. We met up in person. We rented an Airbnb, just people from our fitness community, and got to hang out for the weekend, go hiking, play games, have good food. And it was just so much fun and brought us all so much joy. So, so I just kind of went through all of the different areas, that I journaled about, like you guys just did or started to, and picked pictures that represented those things to me. I shared here in the chat. I also wrote out in each of those areas, family, health, spiritual, financial, mental health. I can't remember what they all were. But this is just one of the sections here that I shared. So this was with my physical health. So I wrote this out, and it's important if you're going to try this, it's important to write it in the present tense. It's sort of a way to trick your brain into saying, wait a second, that's not true. I mean, if it's not true yet, which most of the time it's not, right? These are goals that we're setting. But your brain is going to say, okay, well, if that's not true, but maybe it is. And so maybe I should start looking for proof that these things are true. And it's like in the background, while you're going about your day and doing all your things, your brain is humming along thinking, she said that she has found a place where she can make healthy eating an easy choice. So let's look for some proof for that and help her out, because your brain is very helpful. It wants to be helpful. So I says, with my nutrition, I found a place where I make healthy eating an easy choice. I am able to have occasional treats without binging, and I've helped hundreds of women learn how to do the same. I have hit my goal weight of 150 and am able to maintain that weight. I fully understand that God gave me this body with its unique qualities so that I could learn what miracles I'm capable of. I've learned how to train for a half marathon and run it. That was the key for me, without getting injured. I've run many half marathons. Most of the time, I have not run them without getting injured. So that is still one of my goals for this coming year. I make the time to read 4 books a month, 2 of them hard copies. That is also the hard part for me. I make the time for writing every day. When Eleanor, Rockwell, and Teddy are old enough, they are little kids right now. So they are 5, 3, and 1. So when they are old enough, I will run a race with them. So until that point, that means several years down the road, I work every day to stay physically strong and active so that I can make that future dream a reality. So, so those were mine. And then let's go back and see. Let's see. Vanessa said, something I want to change is my focus. I need to focus on bettering myself and being present with my kids. Something I love and feel I need to continue is my therapy and self-care, along with scheduling time with my kids that works for all of us. It's all been a work in progress. Totally understand that, girlfriend. Yeah, that is awesome. Those are great. And Michelle said, change giving my girls my opinion, but listening to them with a more open mind. And accept your son-in-law for who he is, and no, you can't change him or judge him, but just love him. Yeah, that is always hard. So that's a great intention for your family relationships. Those are great. Marcia said, things I want to change: my health and my weight. and the things I want more of: time with my husband and grandchildren, and I want to travel more. So, all right, those are awesome. So, I hope that this has been helpful for you to be able to kind of zero in on some things that are important to you, that you want more of in your life. And even if you came away from this with nothing else, with then a couple of pictures and, of things that you want more of, um, then this has been a win. So I encourage you to kind of choose a word of the year, and just do what feels right for you. Even if it's just a couple of pictures on your phone, if you want to put together a whole collage like this, awesome. It really is super helpful. But the most important part, I feel like, is sharing that vision with people, in, your loved ones and the people that you are associated with every day. Because I heard this analogy once, this little, observation about hermit crabs. I don't know if you've heard this before, but when hermit crabs don't keep the same shells, their bodies continue to grow, and so they have to find bigger shells. And so when they outgrow their shell, then they crawl out of their shell, but they are now open and vulnerable to predators. And so the hermit crabs often cluster together, and those with shells will help protect the vulnerable one who is, growing and changing. And they'll help, they surround the hermit crab without the shell, and will help protect it until it finds a shell. So by sharing your vision, you might feel a little vulnerable. You might feel a little scared about things that you want to change and that you want more of. And just know that when you share it with the right people, they will gather around you. And so, and they will help you, support you, and protect you, and help you grow, and find the right home for yourself. So, and Lauren and I, that is part of our job as coaches, of course, as Beachbody partners, coaching partners, is that we partner with people and help them understand this potential and their capability, that they are capable of so much more. So, anything you want to add to that, Lauren?
I don't think so. I was trying to unmute at the same time. No, I think that's great. I just, these are the types of calls we offer to our partners. Like, we really want to partner with people to just help bring light and focus in their lives. So I think this is awesome. Do you guys have any questions for us about your vision board, or thoughts you have that you want to share, or questions you have that might help you kind of do some homework and get some time to think through things?
I love Marcia's word for reclaim. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. And
And
Michelle, I love
Michelle,
yours,
yeah.
open and acceptance. Yeah. And of course, joy is so fitting for you, Lauren.
Yeah, so for me, like, joy, it's like, I feel like so often we're just doing, and we get to the end of the day and you're exhausted and you sit down, you're like, okay, I got all that stuff done. And I feel like we need more joy in our life, because I think in like the last couple months of this year, I realized, not that I didn't know it before, but how precious life is, and how every day slips by, we don't get it back, and we never know when it can be taken from us. And so living every day with joy, and a lot of what my goals are is to work towards that. So, think about that. And like Jen's is progress. I think that's awesome. Like, it can just resonate in all kinds of, it just can like spread out into all levels of your life. So, you don't have to have a word of the year, but when you do, and you have something that you can kind of focus in on, you can say, like, does this keep me open? Does this Does this keep me with acceptance? Does this keep me with progress? You know, like to me, I heard this once and I thought this was so good. If it's not a hell yes towards your goal, then it's a hell no. And don't be afraid to not do things if it's not working towards your goals. It's okay to say no to things if it's not working towards your focus, right? Because in the end, when you are living your best and you're working towards your goal, everything around you is going to be, it's going to rise up to another level because you're able to be there for everybody because you are working on that thing. Vanessa's is power. I love it. I've let other people's actions and words have power over my life the last 2 years, and this year I'm taking it back. Girl, I feel the fire. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, if nobody has any questions, I know you both know how to get a hold of me or Shireen. So we would love to see your boards or collages or even just your few pictures of whatever you create. Share them with us. We would love to see it. And if you guys have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to ask. And I just want to say thank you for joining us. I know tomorrow, most of us are kind of getting back into the swing of life and reality. And so it's going to be very easy to get back into the monotony of the way things were before. And don't beat yourself up if like tomorrow you don't make that change fully, or if in 2 weeks you kind of go really strong and then you start to find yourself falling off. The next day is a new day. You can regroup, right? It's not an all or nothing thing. It's a slow thing. And one of the things Julie talked about earlier was routines. Like she wanted to create these routines. Routines and habits take time. So give yourself grace and be gracious and be patient with yourself as you start to do it. And don't feel like you got to do it all at once. Take baby steps. You don't have to see the full staircase to take the first step, right? Step by step, day at a time. You got this.
Love that. Amen. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We are so glad you've been here with us. And yes, we absolutely would love to see any finished products that you come up with. So please share them. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.